Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Delicately Wild. We have Angelique in the house, a soul that I met a long time ago, but actually haven't really connected much in reality. It's like this scene where you see the same people over and over and over again, but and of course there's this heartfelt essence among you as tribe, but with there being so many tribe, you often miss out on the opportunity to dive deeper with someone. So after the many years of that sort of first instance happening, we've got Angelique in the space, and I welcome you to Delicately Wild. How are you doing?
Doing good, and you, Brigitte?
Yeah, really well. Where are you in the world?
So I stay in Pretoria. I live with my dad and my stepmom. We've got me and Matthew. We've got our own little section in the house. So
Nice.
oh, it's really all
Beautiful.
good. Good,
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah, you're looking really beautiful and healthy.
Oh, thank you.
I've lost
Just
your
want to
video
see.
there for a second.
Let me just go. Yeah, like technology has really been strange the last few days.
Yeah, tell me about it. So basically, I kind of want to guide people in with regards to your story. This show is really about people's path of awakening, whether that be transformation, whether it be psychedelics, whether it be meditation, whether it be trauma in your life. Really just kind of highlighting your story, what led you to this point in your life at this moment. And this is a really interesting question to see where people kind of begin. So I'm curious as to where you'll dive us into.
So yeah, I've been on a spiritual path for quite some time. I would say like since 2011, it really started happening for me. And yeah, I used to be on lots of substances, substance abuse, abusing myself and things over the years. And I feel like since 2011, I really started feeling the urge to break away from those chains.
Mm.
And I really feel like it's something that's been running in my generations, like my ancestors and my mother and my like grandfather, and just a pattern or something that I needed to break. So yeah, I think now I've almost been 8 years clean from any chemicals, like
Beautiful.
smoking cannabis in December, like the 7th of December. Like, yeah, and it really feels like it's freedom now. Like, at first, it really felt to me like, who am I? Like,
Mm.
you
Mm.
always like do this like thing every day, and now I'm just like doing other things, and it's
Mm.
just empowering for me. So yeah, for
Beautiful.
me, I really
Did you say you stopped cannabis in December?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
so you're free of all substances.
Yeah, all substances right now. I'm like only taking like beautiful medicines like drinking cacao and blue
Mm.
lotus teas and all of that stuff. So
Mm.
it's really a shift over. And yeah, I've even went off the CBD oils because I used that for a little while just to be able to sleep at night. And now I
Mm.
just do like daytime yoga, and it's just like a whole new thing to be so free and not need anything anymore. And
Yeah. And I
yeah,
mean, would you
just
would you say you fell into a trap? Because essentially psychedelics are there to open us up. We open up, and then we think we're in this beautiful space of heightened connection and tapping into spirituality and that which is different to the system, which we don't really fit into. But then we fall into a trap, right?
yeah, it's almost like then we start needing it. But I think I'm really grateful for the way weed and marijuana has been there for me. It's through certain phases of my life where I really needed to not be serious about things, and just
Yeah,
like let it go, kind of. So yeah, it really feels like it was like a trap, but it was also like a trick.
of
Like trick
course.
yourself awake, and then you like don't need it anymore. Like I really
Yeah.
feel like medicine until you like don't need it anymore. And then you can. It's like not
Yes.
you're not gonna take antibiotics for the rest of your life. You're just gonna use it till you're better, and then you
Correct.
know. So I really feel
Correct.
like I'm in the next phase of my spiritual awakening. It's just like it's real, and there's a lot of things that come up that you've never dealt with, that you really suppressed over all the years with all the substances. But it's just nice to really face it and feel it, and you have to feel it to heal it, and
Yeah.
to be there for my son as well, not trying to escape all the time. And shame, it's like
Yeah.
5 years, and I just want to be there for him.
Yeah.
Really be present for myself and for him. And sometimes it feels like his whole childhood is like almost just flown past, and
Yes.
now I can still get a little bit of it. So
Yeah, good, beautiful. And in terms of, you said you're staying with your mom and dad. I mean, and obviously this pattern that you had, besides exploring your consciousness, you've mentioned that it was like this ancestral pattern happening in your life, and I, by the pattern, I mean this addiction pattern. How have your parents been through your transformation, and are they on the same page as you? Because they would be two Afrikaans mom and dad, right?
So my dad is Taylor, so he's actually like I think my grandfather is like the second generation of, he was more like Englishman, but
Okay.
not, we actually like Taylor, Scottish Taylor, like, and
Okay.
my mom was like Venter, so she was really like Afrikaans.
Yes.
She committed suicide when I was 11 years old, so
Okay.
their side things really affected me, that abandonment and stuff. But my dad's really been there for me. He's like one of those people that he doesn't drink, he doesn't really smoke. He's always been like this straight kind of person in my life, where on my mother's side, like my grandfather used to drink a lot of alcohol and my mom used to use a lot of pharmaceuticals. And yeah, so it's just like my dad's really been supporting me, like last year this time, like last year May, me and my partner, my son's father, broke up after me having a miscarriage. So it was just like this heavy traumatic experience, and it really felt like that baby actually came to free me up in a way. It was like, in this relationship anymore, it's not good for you. Yeah, my dad just opened his arms, took us in, and he's like, yeah, come back. And it was just actually in a way easy to let that last little bit of chains fall off,
Yeah.
yeah, in a safe
Beautiful.
place.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And in terms of like tribe and friends, have you kind of disconnected from those people from the past? Because often on one's awakening journey, and it happens in stages, we just like drop contacts, drop friends, drop friendships. How's that
Yeah,
experience been
man.
for you?
Like I've got probably like 2 friends left,
Mm,
Not that I'm not friends with the other people, but they're really like the people that I'm talking to is just like, one or two friends. Like my one friend recently came off crystal meth, and he came off everything. He's not even smoking cigarettes anymore.
wow.
And I was like, wow, it's some really nice person to connect with in a like friendship way, and he's not like really romantic interest, but he's like really like awakened, masculine, like, let's do this, we are gonna like have a good life, kind of.
Beautiful. Wow. How did he heal himself through that? I mean, crystal meth is quite an addiction.
Yeah, it's quite intense. So he just like the one day, I don't know, he said he started feeling the need to like awaken within him to let go of it. And he said first he had to stop snuffing it, and he had to rather smoke it, and then there was this phase where he just completely stopped it, and then he was just smoking some weed, and then after that he felt like he didn't need the weed anymore, and then like a few weeks later he was like, okay, now he doesn't even need cigarettes anymore. So
Wow.
just really, it's like, yeah, it's amazing, because I know like some people, they just really struggle even to stop cigarettes,
Of
so it's
course,
just
it's like cigarettes
one
has
year.
been, yeah, wow, that's incredible. Please send him
I even
my,
eating meat as well now. I'm like, wow, dude, you're like really accelerating. Yeah, just like
yeah,
trying
so
not to
he's obviously
say.
going through a massive shift and awakening, like, and his heart is opening. And actually that's a beautiful question. Like in terms of getting off of substances, moving through your healing process, what was the, what was the moment in your space and your reality where you're like, I need to change something here. And you know, what kind of work do you do in terms of spiritual practice and things like that, if any? Or is it just like a strong mindset that kind of got you through this process?
Oh, I must say, like, I stopped using chemicals, like I said, about 8 years ago. But it was really like seeing my one friend actually having liver failure from taking cat and snorting and stuff. Like, I saw him the one day, and after the weekend, I saw him again. He was all yellow, like his eyes and everywhere. And he even still didn't stop until big grown men looked him in the face and they started crying. And they're like, dude, you're really going to kill yourself, you know? And
Yeah.
it really made me realize, you know, even like my mom, because she committed suicide, like I always thought like, yeah, I'll never do that. But actually that's exactly what I was doing, like trying to
Yes.
party away, you know, and it
Yeah.
really opened my eyes in like a whole new level. And then when I had my son, you know, like I was still smoking weed, but it just felt like I really need to let this go, you
Mm.
know. It's like I could feel it's this thing that's holding me, you know. And
So what's the thing that surprised you about like you? So as in re-meeting yourself, like what have you learned about yourself in this new phase of your reality?
that I can really love myself, you know, and that I can cry about my mother abandoning me, but actually the worst abandonment ever is abandoning ourselves, you know. It's like really, I learned that self-love is number one. We can't expect, we've got this like this emotional bank account, and we can't expect to write checks and it will bounce the whole time. Like you want to act like this, or you want to do like something that you know is right, but you can't get to it because it's almost like you don't have that capacity, you don't have that
Yes.
funds to do
Yeah.
it, you know.
Yeah.
I can really feel like a whole lot of things has opened up for me. Like I got a new car, and like things just like orders has been coming in, and things is
Beautiful.
just better, you know. Like I'm working my
Nice.
butt off, and I'm really tired sometimes, but I really feel like it's shifted, you know.
Beautiful.
And being able to look myself in the eyes and not being like all like, you know, it just feels
Mm.
great. Get to know
Nice.
myself, my
Nice.
limits.
And in terms of your ascension path, like in your belief systems at the moment, where do they lie in terms of what's happening globally, what's happening with you, how you view yourself, these aspects of self-love and the heart chakra, and where we're going, like where we're going to? Because that's a deep topic, and that's you know, we could go many avenues. So I'm curious, and I mean, you could answer for what's happening globally or for yourself, you know, in the future timeline. What do you how do you see your experience on planet Earth?
So I feel like it's all been coming together in a way. Like some it's all like system wise and global wise, it looks like it's all falling and crumbling, you know, but it's all part for me about the new earth, you know. Sometimes the old foundations has to be restructured for this
Mm,
whole thing to happen, you know.
mm,
And it really we are setting like we are lifting the bar right now,
mm,
how we treat ourselves and how people are supposed to treat themselves. And if we can't meet ourselves deeply with love, you know, like we always want to say, yeah, everybody is just like this and that, but we must be there for ourselves firstly, and then we can meet other people that on that level, you know.
yeah.
Like I really see myself as a healer, you know, like I've always been the one person that if people share all their deepest secrets with, and I'm
Mm,
just like there for them, just not judging them and
mm,
just telling them that, you know, it's okay, you know. So I really feel also very aligned with all the topics of this course and things. It really spoke to me
mm,
straight away. And
mm,
it's also coming to me like the dragon and the emerald covenant, and how I mean, like next year is the year of the 8, and it's also the year of the dragon, which I'm also born in the year of the dragon. So it's like
mm,
very special, sacred year for me. And it's just like this Christos energy, like how Christ, the name of him actually was like a number 8. I watched this thing the other day, and it's
mm.
like number 8. And I'm like, it's all like just means something
Interesting.
deeper to me, you know. So
Yeah,
I really feel like we're going somewhere, and we must just align with that energy right now.
yeah.
And like, especially the 3D, like we must try and, like the other day I saw this thing, like how we can work from the 5D in a way to raise the 3D as well, to bring it together, you know, like so many bad things are happening right now to actually try and pull our energy down. So yeah, I just feel like we can lift our vibes by focusing on the good, you know.
Yeah. And I mean, you've got a little one in your space, so you know, what is your views, thoughts, opinions, belief systems surrounding the kids that are coming onto the planet at the moment?
Yeah, definitely. Like if I see how much he's shifted my point of view, is like he was the one that always used to tell me, Mama, put down the smoke and come play with me, you know. And
Yes.
he's so clever, you know. And I really believe like they are the rainbow and the crystal children and the third wavers in a way. They're really coming in, the earth children. Like when I fell pregnant, I mean, my cycle was a bit of like week. My bleed was like a week or two late. And then I watched this thing and the lady was speaking about the third wavers and the new earth children coming in. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I'm pregnant now.
Yes.
And yeah, it's just like I actually wanted to start giving yoga in schools for kids and or meditation, like for the detention kids and stuff. And I was just going to about the start of it, and then I was like having my own. So he's always doing yoga with me, and
Sweet.
I'm homeschooling him, and I'm just like, you know, it's just for me, like I know what school in a way is like. A school is sometimes like a children's prison in a way. It's
Yes.
like that, and kids are mean, and like I got so many scars from school, from, you know, like my self
Yeah.
confidence, everything
Yeah.
gets put on there, and the way he is, I could just see how good the homeschooling is for him, and
Yes.
he's just like really uplifted little boy that even when
Yeah.
he's with other kids, he won't say he's not in school. He's like really like
Yes.
picky and really into them, and he's like
Yes.
so open, you know. Like
Yeah.
sometimes people like they're not really sure how to receive him, but they do
Yes.
anyway.
It's so beautiful. I think, you know, especially if we go into further lockdowns and things like that, and further agendas. I mean, we've still got time on the planet. We've got a lot of time on the planet, right? Unless, you know, some big meteor comes and just like crushes it all, or, you know, like we go into another extinction phase or whatever, which might be a good thing, but for now we're living it fully, right? But yeah, it's like the homeschooling is really gonna like kick off now a lot, and I think it's also beautiful because you get to watch your children grow instead of somebody else's
Programming.
programming, yeah, and indoctrination coming in, you know, like you know, a simple one is, you know, Tommy, put that down, and it's like you know, the parent might say, Tommy, that's interesting why you picked that up. Why do you find it curious? What are you learning from it? Is it speaking to you? And all of these things. So you know, part of this Azurite temple, as you know, is about a portion of the money going into funding for something to happen on a piece of land, right? The project dear to my heart is got very much to do with beings going through psychosis and spiritual awakening and kind of detaching from the matrix. It's just kind of like holding space for those going through dark night of the soul, right? Because it can be big, and so big that you don't want to work in your job anymore. You literally can't. Your body won't allow you to. So you're losing money. You can't pay for your home anymore. You don't want to pay for your home anymore. You don't see the point, and all of these things, you know. And so this is kind of my view on where some of the funds are going to go. But one of the other co-facilitators, she's not really a formal co-facilitator, but she is, that are working on the Azurite temple with us. Her idea is much the same, getting a piece of land, there's water, but she wants to create a school for indigos. And exactly the curriculum that we are going to go through, as in cognitive dissonance, creation stories, the Emerald Covenant, the Azurite, you know, all of it. So all of it, where she's going to create a like stories of these creation stories for children to learn, and she's an African woman, so we're bringing in this like etymology of, so for example, the word Zulu means I think people from the sky or something like that. And I think even our own African people have forgotten the etymology of these words and what they come from. And so she wants to reintroduce this curriculum. Let's call it a Christos curriculum. Yeah. A Christ consciousness curriculum without the indoctrination and dogma of what Jesus was, but it's as a collective consciousness and a frequency and a code. So yeah, we really look forward to actually, and if anyone is listening, to be honest, like this is a project that I feel will extend way deeper than the 7 months. We'll do this first 7 months as the pilot project, the lift off, the blast off, but this is going to be a really, really evolving thing. And I can see it like it's like a tumbleweed that just collects things, and it's just it's going to grow. And so I'm stating this to the universe in this moment. It's going to grow. And I wish to get like corporate sponsorship to kind of begin to show, because this is also part of the new financial system, of how the new financial system is going to work and flourish, because actually we don't need it all. We don't need to keep recycling back into things that we already have. We just need the basics.
So at the moment, it's just keeping us busy and distracting our consciousness away from consciousness. Like rather put it into consciousness. And
exactly. And it's like, okay, cool. Like, let's say, for example's sake, a corporate space that has some sort of like soul spark in it that's like, maybe driving profit for shareholder profit isn't our number one goal. Maybe employee wellness is our number one goal, and they, or whatever, or social responsibility is our number one goal, because we are in a changing economy. We're in a changing structure. We're in a changing world. We're in a changing consciousness. And we find those companies, for example's sake, and drive these projects, like, because these fires that are happening across the world, dare I say it, I'm sorry guys that are triggered, that don't look deeper into the stories, but unfortunately good people don't realize how evil people are. And I'm going to tell you now, governments are creating these fires to buy up land. So it's like, if you start bringing this information in, and you begin to get corporate sponsorship, we can really buy land. And it's not about me and you and ownership, but this is true custodianship, Yeah,
I agree. Like, we actually have 2 people living in our house after this weekend because their house also burned down to the ground. And I know about almost 5 people that lost their houses just over this weekend. And I'm like, what's going on?
In Pretoria?
Like, there's like 2 people here in Pretoria, like, and then there was one where I heard on the radio just randomly. But there was almost like 5 different cases that I heard like over this weekend only, that people's houses burned down. And I was like, what's going on here? Is it load shedding? People's candles are burning something? I don't know what's going on, It just felt like something's going on there,
Interesting.
So but I really, a lot of people's also suffering with the psychosis things right now, You're really talking the truth. Like, I was even worried about my stepmom a while ago, because she was starting to like put stickers on her camera on her phone, and she's like, people are watching me. She's like really having this paranoia stuff. But it's like I think it's a lot of like light coming in, and
correct,
people almost know like what to hold on to anymore. It's like,
correct.
I used to work with Ansu at the wellness center, where we worked with the plant medicine ibogaine. And it was interesting because most of the people, like 90% of the people that came there, was having psychosis already. And just to see them transform, that really actually helped me to realize that what you preach, you're actually preaching for yourself. Because then I was still on chemicals and stuff, and I would tell people, it's bad for you, it's ruining your life and all of this stuff. And I was just like, eyes opened. It's not no more.
So these people at the ibogaine clinic that had psychosis, was that mostly drug-induced psychosis or chemical-induced psychosis?
All the time, It's like a thing, especially with crystal meth, it heightens your cortisol levels to a point where you actually like your dopamine is completely depleted, but your cortisol levels are so high. And yeah, it's either psychosis or you're beginning like getting schizophrenia, like
Yes,
sometimes.
because obviously the body can't rest, the nervous system hasn't rested, you're not eating, you're not sleeping, your organs are not, yeah, you're completely poisoning the whole entire system. So yeah, chemically induced psychosis. But what did you, yeah, like ibogaine interests me particularly surrounding psychosis, as in maybe not necessarily chemically induced psychosis, but let's say spiritually induced psychosis. So the kundalini activating, and again, people need to begin to understand that when the kundalini activates, essentially you're kind of going to go into a bit of a dark night or a shamanic death, because what it's doing is pushing that which is dense out through the body system for you to see, and that is what, you know, what kind of drives you crazy, or you can't deal with it, or it's scary, or it's frightening. You know, so many people look to, yes, I want to activate my kundalini, but if you're not on some sort of protocol, in some sort of process, in some sort of discipline or some sort of practice, this can be very dangerous. And this is why very religious people, you know, particularly Catholicism or things like that, they're like really, really against yoga and against any other practice. And it's because the kundalini activates through this, but we don't have the full spectrum of teachings. And so then the religious doctrines hold us into the safety net, and we just create stories of the man in the sky, you know, that we call God. But it's all interlinked. It's all interlinked. And so, yeah, back to the ibogaine, it's like those of us that, you know, there's going to be just mass amounts of psychosis happening because of the energies coming in.
Yes. And that's why I'm also so glad that I started learning space holding things, you know, like skills. And it really helped me. I thought like, yeah, you're going to hold space for other people. And then you realize you're actually learning this for yourself, you know.
Of course.
And everything that started coming up, just to be able to hold it instead of getting absorbed by it, you know. It's like, right, this is it. Just hold it and feel it and just go through the process, you know, instead of trying to push it down again. Because I mean, how many
Correct.
layers of trauma do you have to push down the whole
Yeah.
time?
Yeah.
And it's affecting everything around us,
Yeah.
you know. So
yeah,
good
and
for it.
you're never quite done, because the layers of trauma are not only within this life, but that within what we call our past lives, which we'll go deeper into, because actually that's like a statement that isn't really true, because there's no past, present, and future, but there is, you know, in the quantum space. But and then also not only your consciousness, but that of the collective's trauma. So, and this is what we're going to go through, and that's what we're experiencing on the planet Earth right now. Is
people that's been avoiding doing the work, like we almost getting a chunk of their stuff as well, because it's like we are doing the work, so we can actually, and then the universe knows like, oh, this person can actually like absorb that also,
clear
so
it,
just
absorb and clear, absorb and clear, absorb
get it
and
out.
clear. Yeah. You know, and that's what we're going to go through in the AZURITE Temple as well, is galactic history, because it's like 950 billion years of history from our original seeding point, and we're still stuck, you know, learning about shit in school that
Apartheid and stuff.
I don't believe any of it. Like, I don't believe any of it. And not to say that these things didn't happen. The First World War happened, the Second World War happened. I get it. But the
It's
stories of,
reason, you know?
the stories of why, from the galactic perspective, the origin of why it's been happening, that's what we got to get to, you know, like the real like nitty
That back
gritty.
in, like I think we lost the roots. We don't really, sometimes it feels like everybody's just like going on with things and we don't actually know where it comes, where we come from, and where it's going to, and why we're here, that purpose,
Correct.
like really purposeful life. Like without purpose, what are we really, you know, doing here?
I know. Do you get freaked out with like observing people that are just like happy in their 9 to 5, or are they even happy? I think some people are, like, if they're successful, why shouldn't they be? Like, it's working for them. But like, it just like, it's the most curious question to me to observe those that don't ask, like, is this really what I came to do? It doesn't, like, surely it doesn't make sense. I don't know, man. It doesn't fucking
These
make
weird like
sense.
fan pages on Facebook nowadays, like just for OnlyFans, or I don't know what is the stuff really, but I'm like, what? You know, it's like
Yeah.
almost like this shallow, you know, where's
Yeah.
the deep?
Yeah. Where's
I
the
really,
depth? Have you ever asked yourself, like, who are you? Like,
yeah.
what am I doing here? You know, I had a beautiful,
Soul come
beautiful,
to do, yeah.
say again.
What did our souls come to do? Yeah. Why did we
Yeah.
incarnate? Like when I did this ancestral healing thing like a few weeks ago with Teal, it was like, sure. We did this meditation where you go back to your 10th generation, and it's like 2,400 grandmothers and great
Wow.
grandfathers. And we don't actually realize like what a big river of people it took
Of
to get us here,
course.
you know.
Yeah.
Let me out of this thing again, sorry.
No worries.
I don't know since when does Zoom have ads, but
Yeah. That's a really, really beautiful thought process. And I think people do forget about that, like what it took to get you here in the now moment. And then expanding beyond blood lineage, and then connecting galactic lineage and cosmic lineage to the now moment, and eliminating the concepts of past and future and parallel. So I mean, this reality is such a mind warp and mind fuck, and so beautiful as well. There's so much to learn and so much to uncover. And I was at the river today, and I was also having this thought process of like yes, the world is big, it's beautiful, there's many places to visit, but it's actually also simultaneously small. Like, and if you view it as small, you can be like, oh, but there's this little thing inside you that goes, but okay, but I want to learn more. I want to know more. So like, where to from here? Like, okay, cool. Let me keep exploring every single little part of the planet, its ecosystem, the soil, the jungles, the deserts, the this, the that, the snakes, the ants, the flowers, the birds, the bees, all of it. And then you're like, okay, I'm learning so much, but you're like, okay, so what else? What else can I learn about? And then we go to space, you know, and we start learning about the sky, and then you're like, okay, cool. But this is just one time matrix. Okay, cool. What's linked to this time matrix? Sweet. There's another fucking galaxy over there. Like, you know, and people are still in their 9 to 5s. Like, it's just like mind boggling. It's amazing.
it reminds me almost of a meditation I sometimes do, and then I'll like stretch my aura, and I'll be like, okay, now it's as big as the earth, and I'll make it as big as our solar system, and I'll try and imagine if it's as big as our galaxy. And at the end of this day, then you see all these galaxies, and you're like the whole universe. And then I'm like, all right, but what's past this? You know,
Yes.
like what do galaxies look like in other universes? You know, like maybe they square or triangle. You can't
Yes.
even it, but I try to like just imagine.
Nice. Because it's all about play, right? Like, if you were to describe consciousness, what would you say consciousness is?
For me, in a sense, it is source living through everything, you know, it's
Mm,
just experiencing itself as different things, like, you
mm.
know, and just
Do you feel like,
discovering.
I mean, I'm assuming, an assumption is never a good thing, so guide me if I'm incorrect, but I'm assuming that there would be a part of you that is quite linked to the Afrikaans community, which are quite indoctrinated into NG Kerk, or let's just call it Christian faith.
Mhm.
And do you think they would get angry with the statements like, I am God, I am sovereign, I am free, so calling themselves God?
that is the thing. Like, at least my dad gets it in a way,
Mm,
Like, the one day he said, like, yeah, God is all of us, Like,
mm,
he really, in a way, he gets it. But, like, me and my one friend had a big argument on Facebook the other day because I posted this thing about how we are, like, essentially, we are children of God. I
mm,
mean, like a sheep doesn't have a cow or a pig or something. Like a sheep has, like gods have gods, Even the sheep
mm,
is God
mm,
in its own little sense of way. But like we must, like that is the most, I think it's in a way the most humblest thing to realize,
yes,
that somewhere out there it is within us,
yes,
And the
yes.
whole principle about giving your heart to God, like God is supposed to live inside us, like
Mm,
through us, and
mm,
it's what makes our heart beat, like where
mm,
does it come from?
mm.
But I do think like a lot of people think it's like, and also the way
Blasphemy. They probably
you
think it's
think God is
blasphemy
a
to say
male,
that.
like this male being, like God doesn't have a gender. It's like
Mm,
not a narcissistic thing from like, no, it's not a female or it's not a like
mm,
this or like I always say mother, father, God, and some people are like, you're confused. They just look at me like, but I know, like in my sense, like it takes a
mm.
masculine and a feminine energy to create anything in this, like, so
That's it. That's exactly it. The highest gammas union. That's it. Yeah.
I
Balancing
love to
masculine and
refer to
feminine.
people as goddesses and higher masculines, and like, why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
And my
Yeah.
family was like, no, you can't say that. We are all servants. And I'm like, yeah, we are serving, but
Serving
God
and
is through
serving and
us.
servants are two different things. That's two different
Us, not by
frequencies.
us, like God is through us. It's not by us. Anything we do anyway is God living through us. So
Mm,
it's like,
mm,
what voice are we going to choose? Like nowadays, since I stopped with the last little bits of stuff, it's like my frequency is so much clearer. Like I can really feel like normally you're like, is that my intuition or
correct.
my higher
Yeah.
self, whatever? Or and it's almost like, I don't want to say the devil's voice, but it's some or the ego, Sometimes it's just this loud voice, like blah, 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 arrogant, like yeah, yeah. I
Mm,
can really like recognize it nowadays, and be
yes.
like, I don't think so.
Nice. Nice. And it's the same like you were saying, like God's heart lives within us, like that heartbeat lives within us. It's the same as the third eye, right? So last night I was having a discussion with my roommate, and going, it's never what you think it is. Our minds construct stories that we call truths, but the mind is like this sweetest and sometimes silliest little child that just wants it to be that way, but it's not actually that way. And with the third eye as well, we want to see that which is outside of ourselves. But the third eye is a process of the inner eye awakening. And through that process, you begin your visionary escapades and journeys and, moving through dimensional realities or whatever it is. And I think a lot of people get stuck there, particularly around the third eye. I know I did a lot.
When we hold on to the truth too much, like
Correct.
sometimes we have the truth and it's this thing for us, but we have to also like let it transform,
Yeah.
like so many times like I had to let go of truths and things but there was a new truth
Yes.
for me to
Yes.
go on to, and it's like, all right, so now this is true for me again, and then
Yes.
like
Yes. Yeah. And that's the
just
beauty of it
next
all. Yeah, that's the beauty of it all, to not judge us. I'm assuming, since you found your way to me and this workshop, as well as the Emerald Covenants and all of that, you've had a look at the flower of life versus the crystal, or the flower of death, the Metatronic flower of death versus the crystal lotus flower of life. What I'm curious to know, like, your feelings and thoughts and attachments that you had, or like your curiosity of going, this made sense. The reason I bring this up is obviously, having been in the festival space and the trance scene, many of us and many festivals would have used this flower of life technology or geometry as part of advertising, as part of stage decorations, etc., etc. And now we're looking at this technology as a an inverted system. So I'm curious to know if you've gone a little bit into that and what your thought processes are around it.
So I haven't dived too deep into that, but I do really. Me and my one friend did have a conversation about this the other day, and he was, yeah, the Fibonacci is like,
An
oh,
inversion,
and
yeah.
I was like, all right, but it's everywhere in nature, like it's not just man-made, and he was like,
Mm,
no, it comes from Saturn, and he
mm,
started like going on about all this stuff, and I was like, okay, by all means, like I've also been part of this other teachings and stuff where they show like this fake tree of life thing that it's not
yes,
the one.
yes,
And then I go into how like certain blocks, crystal blocks, was actually placed into our chakra systems to actually
correct.
try and record our frequencies and
Yes,
mislead us. And so up until a point, it really makes sense. Like I've been using a lot of like sacred geometries in my
mm,
embroideries and stuff over the
mm,
years and my
mm,
clothing and stuff. So,
mm.
but yeah, I would like to hear more about what you think about it because,
Yeah.
not
Well,
too deep in.
yeah, I mean, we're gonna go further into these technologies and things in the AZURITE temple, and I'm kind of going to keep quiet about it now because one of the things I realize that I am here to do, and it's like, we all have a certain blueprint, and we all attract a certain soul tribe, and we all draw and magnetize those people to us who we are meant to, and assist each other to shift to other levels and other states of experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this particular temple space is very much to go through the basics and move from the basics, where we really look at our dissonance and just go slowly, 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 slowly through it. Because if I were to blast out information now, it would just sound a little bit, it'll sound high tech, and it is highly technical, but I don't want to create confusion by trying to create a very simple answer now, when actually, much like all
I really
spirituality,
feel like it's
we've
been
got to
coming up.
look at we've got to look at all angles, and after we've had a conversation about all these aspects, then we can go into, so if we look at this particular design of this particular sacred geometry, can you now see, based on fact A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, that this now is an inverted technology? So that's kind of what we're gonna go through, or touch base on, for sure. I feel like I've been bitten by a spider. Anyway. It's all good. Yeah. So the reason I asked is, again, I know you've been in that space. Like you say, you've probably used it on embroidery designs and things, but I'm always curious because sacred geometry, particularly the flower of life, people have such it's a simple attachment. Like, we haven't even thought of it. We're like, cool, it's the flower of life. Beautiful. But when you start looking at Anunnaki symbolism, it's actually an inverted system. So, because again, even our history in terms of Egypt and stuff, I think everyone is seeing the very love and light, God and goddess aspect of, like, I was a priestess and this and that, but we've got to go further and further and further and further and further and further back into the history to really start to uncover things. So when I was in Egypt now, it was super, super interesting and fascinating because I actually saw the flower of life on one of the ancient buildings, and this was the space that was being advertised, that spiritual people go to do their activations and their priestess things, etc., etc., etc. But I'm like, that's so interesting, because if we've been in an imprisoned planet for so many years, the truth has been hidden from us. It feels like it's only coming out now. There's been little aspects for sure, but the history is only coming out now. And I think, simply put, if we've been fooled and in war timelines for so long, then we should really pause with everything, all technologies, all geometries, and just pause,
Try to mislead us in the Bible and other places who says they won't try to do it everywhere.
Exactly. And that's all I mean is like, you know, and this is where we look at our attachments to like, no, this can't be. And you're just like, I'm not saying it is or it isn't. I'm just saying, here's a new set of data, right? Take it or leave it. So yeah, it's super, super interesting.
Yeah, it does really align with teachings that I've been going through. So it's really awesome. Yeah, I really feel like,
go for it.
I really feel like it's aligned, like, yeah, like even the argument I had with my friend the other day is like our galaxies are spirals and things. And at the end of the day, it does add up to the Fibonacci's spirals and things, but there might be something more to learn about it, we must just keep our mind open,
Correct. And also we have to understand we're human working within a space-time construct, because we're going to go into the Fibonacci as well. So it is based on the teachings that I'm going to bring, spoken of as an inverted system, because it's not beginning from zero. So when we look at the crystal lotus flower of life, we're beginning from that source point. And that's what this whole thing is about, is binary systems versus the Holy Trinity. And when we've got the Holy Trinity, it's sourcing through source points. So when you say, I understand what you mean when you say, but the Fibonacci sequencing exists in much of nature, but that may be a database of a data set of teachings that you've read, but you haven't yet received the other one to go, actually, if I look at nature, yes, this makes sense. And now I understand the two teachings, and I can now come to a space of discernment and a new answer within myself. So, that's
I
kind
totally agree.
Yeah.
No matter how much we can say we know about these things, there's always something more to learn about it,
Exactly. And so cool. I'm going to close off here. If there was any message that you wished to give humanity, what would it be?
It's like, yeah, I just feel like everything is gonna work out at the end of the day. We are literally creating the road less traveled. We are like this big, massive being, collective thing, and the more we think we are separate, we actually like disempowering ourselves. It's almost like that thing when you put a few matches, when you take one match and you can break it, but when you take a lot of matches together, they're strong. So just we must just all get together and not let things separate us any longer.
Yes. Unity consciousness. This has been the big theme of really actually not only knowing it as a construct, a word, but beginning to embody what that means. It's a huge energy. It's huge. And it is exciting. So thank you, Angelique, for coming on to Delicately Wild. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Please place any comments. And again, please know that I by no means am saying I'm an expert in anything. I am just here sharing at my current station of identity through a current creation story that I am in. That's all I can ever offer is assistance. And there were times where I got afraid to be out there and share, and these teachings are wild and saying that this is inverted and but I'm actually okay with it now. I've gone through the shadow work, and I know that I'm able to assist, at least open up our minds to ask more questions and to come into non-attachment and to just start bringing in this new system in a heart-centered way. So again, by no means am I saying I know it all. Thank you for your support, guys. Thank you, Angelique. And I look super forward to having you in the AZURITE Temple. Much love to you, sister.
Thank you for being your truth, my beautiful sister.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Ciao.